Happy New Year's, everybody. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if it's your first time. So we started this journey in January 15th of 2025 is when we started this channel, and all the people watching it made it to where we've now grown to over 1,100 subscribers. So I want to thank you very much. During the course of the year, we stayed in 15 different hotels. So our goal to travel definitely worked out. So stick around and we'll tell you how we ranked them. Welcome to Voyager Smith. In 2024, my wife and I sold our house and all of our belongings and left for Thailand from the United States with our 2 Labrador retrievers. Join us as we review all of our travel and talk about our experiences living abroad. And if you find this information useful, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe. It really helps us out. Now enjoy the video. Okay, so this is the only hotel that I'm going to speak badly about because this hotel basically sucked. It's in an area called Marylebone in central London. We thought it was going to be a nice area, but it really wasn't. The room was tiny. Like, it was so tiny that I didn't even shoot a video of it because I wouldn't know what camera angle to go from. There was literally about a foot between the end of the bed and the wall. The common area was about as big as my living room for the entire hotel. So IHG, not quite sure why you bought this property, but it was not good. So don't recommend it at all. Don't stay there. Now we'll get to the good hotels. Obviously, you know, we stayed in everything from 2-star to 5-star hotels. So I'll just give you what our thoughts were. The Zeit River Kwai Hotel was in Kanchanaburi. The room was okay. It was very basic. I gave it a 5. Breakfast was weird. You had to order it from the check-in when you got there, and then they just made it for you each day. So 4 out of 10. You know, it was $50 a night, and that included breakfast. You can see the location. It was right on the river. It looks really nice from the outside, and it's got a pretty nice cafeteria, but the room is very, very basic. It's affordable. The thing that probably sold us the most was we had a nice little balcony that we could look out onto the River Kwai, and it was kind of cool in the evenings when the boats would be all lit up coming down, up and down the river. So, yeah, I mean, if you're going to Kanchanaburi, I would recommend it. They don't really have any major hotel chains in Kanchanaburi, so you're going to get everything you're going to get is going to be probably pretty similar to this. So. Coming in at number 13 was the Hilton Garden Inn at Heathrow Airport. You know, it's a Hilton Garden Inn. They do everything basically okay. It's an okay place to stay. So, you know, the room was a 6 out of 10. It wasn't anything special. Breakfast was 6 out of 10. Value was 6 out of 10. And overall score was 6 out of 10. I mean, the best thing going for it was that it happened to be right next to the airport. So it made it very convenient. And there was actually a tube station about a 10-minute walk away, so it was very convenient to get into town. But you can see the room; it's pretty narrow, and it you know, just wasn't anything super special. All right, coming in number 12 is the Quill residence in Kuala Lumpur. I can't remember how I found this. I think through booking.com, but it was basically a 1-bedroom apartment. The only thing that was kind of funky was that the divider between the bedroom and the living room was a glass door, basically. So if you were watching TV or something at night or early in the morning, whoever was in bed could definitely see the light coming in through the outside. But it was a great location. It was very central. Because it was like an apartment, there was no, you know, breakfast or anything like that. So that's kind of an NA score. But you were also located right above a mall that had a grocery store in it, which was really convenient and nice. And then also their SkyTrain station was attached to the building, so that was very convenient also. The room itself, it's not much to look at, but it was cheap. I think for 4 nights we paid $203 total, so about roughly $50 a night. And had a washing machine in there, so it did fine. Free Wi-Fi. It was a good place to stay if you're going to go to Kuala Lumpur. I highly recommend it. Okay, coming in at number 11, Holiday Inn Resort, Koh Samui. This is a Holiday Inn. It is a family hotel. Let me just preface this up front by saying that. You better have kids or love kids if you want to stay at this hotel. If you're a couple or you're traveling by yourself and you want to get some peace and quiet by the pool, this is not the hotel for you. But it's a nice hotel. They don't include breakfast in their standard rate. So, but you can see the location. It's right next to Beaufort Fisherman's Village. By 10 o'clock in the morning, there were about 500 kids in the swimming pool, shrieking and having the times of their life. I really like this room, though. The room you could close a partition and seal off the bathroom and the changing area from the rest of the bedroom, which was super handy if you're an early riser like me and you want to take a quick shower and go have breakfast. We ended up cutting our visit short at this hotel just because the kids got to be too much. We were down there trying to relax, and it was pandemonium. But what I call pandemonium for me would not necessarily be pandemonium for a family or for somebody who is really into kids. It's just my wife and I don't have any small children, so it's not ideal. But it was overall a very nice hotel, and the fit and finish was really nice, and the location was excellent. All right, coming in at number 10 was the Prana Resort in Koh Samui. It was just down the road from the Holiday Inn. It's actually where we moved to. This is much more of a local Thai resort, so it was considerably cheaper than the Holiday Inn. I want to say by like $40 or $50 a night. The room was an 8. Breakfast was an 8. Value was an 8. Overall score of 8. This is a great place to stay if you're in that category where you don't have kids and you want some peace and quiet. They had a nice little pool bar. You could see it's literally right across the street from the beach. In fact, they have a part of the resort that's across the street that has a great pool and a nice dining venue where you get to sit right out on the water. I'll put a link to that video I'll put a link to all these videos, the long forms of these videos, in the description below. So anybody who wants to go back and watch them can check them out. But yeah, overall, we were very, very pleased with this room and how it turned out. At number 9, we have the Continent in Bangkok. This also scored 8s across the board. This is a nice hotel. The rooms were nice. They're very comfortable. The only 2 knocks on the hotel are that for some reason, they don't air condition the elevators, which in Thailand, holy God, could it get hot in those elevators. And then the other thing is the walls were pretty thin. Now, we didn't have an issue because it sounded like a married couple with a small child, so they were basically in bed at 9 o'clock every night. But, you know, the room was nice. The facilities were nice. Breakfast was pretty good. So, yeah, I'd definitely recommend this. And this also comes in right around that $100 a night price point. Obviously, those prices vary depending on the season, so check on the internet and make sure before you book it. Okay, so this next hotel coming in at number 8 is the Aira Hotel. My wife and I had a little bit of a disagreement on this. She thinks that this hotel should be ranked way lower than I ranked it. It is directly across the driveway from the Pipa Hotel, which is one of our favorite hotels in Bangkok. Same price point, around $100 a night. This hotel is older and it's way more of a party place. Like, if you want to see what Thailand's known for, strolling through the lobby, you get it at this hotel. The bed, though, was humongous. I think, we went out a couple times about 9 o'clock at night, and I think everybody that stayed at that hotel was going to the club across the street. So it is very much a party place. The room's nice, and I didn't hear any sound through the walls or anything like that. But my wife just didn't like the fact that there were some things that were very blatant walking around in the hotel lobby downstairs. So if that doesn't bother you, then I think it's a good location and it's close to the BTS. All right, sitting at number 7 is the 4 Points by Sheraton on Ploen Chit in Bangkok. It's a 4 Points by Sheraton, so it's a little bit of the cheaper, more budget-friendly version of the Sheraton, but it's a nice hotel. It's in a great location. I mean, it's right on Sukhumvit, so You can get to everywhere you want to go. It's close walking distance to the BTS. In fact, I think the BTS was almost right outside, pretty close to it. You know, the room was nice. Because it was a major hotel brand, they actually air conditioned the elevators, which was nice, so you weren't boiling. But the room is solid. You know, it's clean, good location. Highly recommend it for anybody who wants to stay at a decent hotel in a good location. So, oh, and they had a pretty good bar downstairs. One last special mention is this was the first hotel that we stayed in that had condoms for sale in the where the snacks and everything were, which I thought was pretty hilarious. Our sixth highest ranked hotel was the Nysa Hotel. Now, this hotel is part of the Kingston group, or Kingford group. Anyways, it's part of a hotel group that also includes the Aira and the Pipa. Solid 8 out of 10. I mean, this is another $100 a night, roughly, hotel that includes breakfast. So it's pretty good value. The room was very nice. The bedding was really good on it. It's in a pretty good location. It's on Sukhumvit Soi 11, but it's kind of down towards the end of the street. So it's either a 15-minute walk to the BTS, where you can pay about I think we paid 100 baht for two of us to take a tuk-tuk, which we're sitting right outside of our hotel, all the way down to the BTS station. They just drop you off. If you don't want to be all sweaty, you can do that. I show a little example of that in the long-form video of this hotel, but amenities were nice. The breakfast buffet was pretty good. It had a lot of variety, more variety than the Pipa or the Aira, I would say. So, and the pool was very nice here too. Highly recommend it. All right, coming in at number 5 is the Pipa Hotel. Solid 8 out of 10 all the way around. It's another $100 a night, roughly, hotel with breakfast included. So it's probably one of Sue and I's favorite places to stay in Bangkok, just because of the value. You know, it's only $100 a night, so we're making a quick run up there for a night or two. It's relatively inexpensive. I will recommend that you request a high floor, because there is a club right across the street, and if you're in one of the lower floors, you can hear music, and there have been people that have complained about that as well. But the room is solid. The bedding is comfortable. It's the newest hotel we've probably reviewed. It just opened in August, I believe, of 2025. So the hotel is still very new. It doesn't have the same characteristic Vegas-ish that the Aira's got. It's much more, I don't know, I guess it's much more conservative, but it's a nice hotel. The pool's nice. I actually like the pool there better than the one at the Nysa. The breakfast is probably not as good as the Aira or the Nysa's, but it's still solid. Highly recommend staying there. Book it through the site though, not booking.com, because you get a cheaper rate and they include breakfast. All right, we're almost there. Coming in at number 4 is the Intercontinental in Bali at Sanur. There's 2 Intercontinentals in Bali, so this is the one in Sanur. Our favorite YouTuber, or one of our favorite YouTubers, a guy called Flip Flop Traveler. He's not a big fan of this resort because of the way the grounds are laid out. My wife and I didn't mind it. He makes some good points, but the room itself is spectacular. When we booked this room, we used points, so it didn't cost me anything out of pocket. We stayed here because we were boarding our cruise ship. I did a cruise review. It's on the channel, a 3-part video. But this room was beautiful. I would have actually liked to stay here more than one night, but it was phenomenal. We obviously arrived in the dark in the evening time, so I can't really show you the view outside. It's in the long form video. I think I caught it the next morning before we checked out. But we ate in a couple of the restaurants there at the property, and they were both phenomenal. But this room was really, really nice. You can see it's very, very well laid out, very Balinese in its style, and highly recommend it. We would stay there again in a heartbeat. All right, coming in at number 3 is the Intercontinental in Bangkok. Now, there are 2 Intercontinentals. One is, I believe, called the Intercontinental Sukhumvit Bangkok. This is not that one. This one is more centrally located, kind of in the thick of everything. But this is not a cheap hotel by any stretch of the means. If you got points and you can knock down the price a little bit, or come during off season, then the price would be more reasonable. We actually had a club level room, and the club is fantastic in this hotel. We basically didn't need to eat any meals out because breakfast was included in the club. They did heavy hors d'oeuvres in the evening, plus free cocktails and wine and beer. Well, not free, it's included in the price of the club level. So, but it was a very, very nice hotel. I think there were 6 or 7 different restaurants right there on the property, but the buffets were just awesome. We had a $100 credit, so we paid for our lunch buffet using the $100 credit, and it was phenomenal to die for. So, and that buffet normally is, I think, about $31 or $32 for all you can eat at the lunch buffet. So, highly recommend it. It's a great hotel. All right, coming in at number 2 is the Al Habtoor Palace Hotel in Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. This is a phenomenal hotel. I would say the only reason why it lost out to our number 1 pick for the year was because the location. It was a pretty healthy walk to get to the elevated sky train that gets you around in Dubai. So you ended up using taxis or Grab a lot when you wanted to go to different places. But the hotel itself is magnificent. The pool's okay. Not the best pool in the world, but pretty decent. The service is unbelievable. If you sit down at the pool, you'll get a guy to run up to you and give you towels and a bottle of water, and all you have to do is raise your hand and they'll be right by your side asking you what they can get for you if you need something to drink or eat or anything like that. So the service was phenomenal. The room was beautifully furnished. One of the nicest hotels I think I've ever stayed in my life, and I've stayed in a lot of hotels. Everything, the fit and finish in the room was phenomenal. The bedding was fantastic. The TV was fantastic. It was a very, very nice place to stay. Highly recommend it if you're traveling to the Middle East for anything. One other thing is it had probably one of the best breakfast buffets I've ever eaten at. Everything was phenomenally prepared, perfectly prepared, and it was absolutely delicious. They also didn't care if I would get up early and go eat first, and then my wife would get up about 3 hours later and then go down and eat. And the first time I went down with her, I just told them, yeah, I've already eaten. I'll just sit here and have a cup of coffee. And she was like, why? Go ahead and eat again if you want. So that was pretty cool. All right, so our favorite hotel of the year, the one we ranked number 1, is the Kimpton Maa Lai in Bangkok. We actually stayed here twice. Once, it was the first place we stayed when we got off the plane when we moved over here. But I didn't have my YouTube channel then, so I didn't even, and plus I was knackered from flying for 30 hours. But this hotel is superb in every way. You can see I gave it a 10 out of 10 on everything. The room is phenomenal. The breakfast is phenomenal. Overall, phenomenal. I consider it a good value, and if you watch the long form video, I'll tell you why. We used a combination of discounts from our Amex Platinum and everything. So we ended up roughly paying when I did the math, it was like $63 a night. But, normally it's going to be in the $200 to $300 a night for a room range if you don't get all the discounts and stuff like that. But God, the room was huge. It also had that favorite design that I really like, where you can separate the bedroom very thoroughly from the bathroom area and the front door, so you can if you're an early riser like me, you can get up early, take a shower, and then leave without disturbing the person that's sleeping. This was the first hotel I stayed in that had automatic curtains. So there was a switch near the bed, and you hit it, and the floor-to-ceiling curtains would open up. So that was pretty phenomenal. The breakfast buffet was the biggest one I've ever seen, and they had food from all around the world. They had an Arabic station. They had Thai food. They had Western food. They had, I don't know. They just had everything. But it was a phenomenal stay, and they get extra points because they're a pet-friendly hotel, which, you know, anybody who's pet-friendly, in my book, is all right. So, and there are a lot of people there with dogs and stuff. So the Kimpton they have a thing where, you know, they have a secret code word. You got to kind of look it up online. And if you say that when you first check in, they'll give you some kind of gift. You know, I think we stayed at the Kimpton in Charlottesville, Virginia, and said the magic words. And then like an hour after we checked into our room, they brought us an entire margarita making kit with Patron vodka, which was pretty sweet. I can't remember what they gave us on this trip. But anyways, phenomenal hotel. Highly recommend it. I would stay there again in a heartbeat. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you got some value out of it, please give us a like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. I'd like to, you know, keep growing it if possible this year. And I've also noticed, looking at the analytics, that about 95% of the people that watch our videos aren't subscribed. So you can't just hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. You can even turn off the notifications if you want, but it really helps us out. So anyways, have a great day, and I hope you have a happy 2026. And I look forward to providing a bunch of content for you in this new year. In about 2 weeks, my wife and I are going down to Australia, and we're going to shoot a bunch of videos down there, the places we stay, the flights, the whole bit. So stand by. There's a lot of content coming your direction. Peace out, everybody.